Colorado, they received some pretty big Deion Sanders news in two ways.
You are Locked On Buffs, your daily podcast on the Colorado Buffaloes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Buffs. I'm your host, Kevin Borba. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. We are also brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day for free and available wherever you get your podcasts. So make sure to like, subscribe, follow, become an everydayer. The show's not possible without everydayers. And we have a lot of fun doing that everyday thing. So let's talk about it. Coach Prime, is he staying? Is he going? I've talked about all the reasons that he would stay, all the reasons that he might go. And as I've been saying, and I think people want to hold on to a mini school part of what I'm saying, Deion Sanders is using his leverage right now, right? There's a contract on the table. There may have been a redone contract on the table. He has everything he could probably want in front of him at Colorado, except he wants to make sure that what is around him, the facilities, the coaching staff, the NIL support is on par before he signs on to keep coaching without his sons. And I totally get that. Don't fault him for that. And I think Colorado should pay him as such, which is one of the most influential figures in the sport. So let's talk about what the two big newses are, starting with, obviously, the NFL aspect of it. The Dallas Cowboys job has been one that he's been linked to. It's been one that he's apparently had been a lot of interest in, but reports indicate that the Dallas Cowboys are closing in on a deal for Brian Schottenheimer, I don't even know his name, Schottenheimer, to take the head coaching job. So check that off the list, right? That's one role that Deion Sanders won't be taking, which is the Dallas Cowboys job, which if he turns down the Dallas Cowboys job, that's a selling point for years to come, right? People are going to try to negatively recruit Colorado and be like, hey, Deion Sanders is going to leave. And Deion Sanders and staff can go, oh, really? Because he had a job opening for the Dallas Cowboys, which is arguably the biggest and most important franchise in American sports, and he turned it down to be here in Boulder. So you think he's going to leave for the South Carolina job? You think he's going to leave for an ACC job or whatever? Like, that is a selling point. That is the ultimate flex by Coach Prime. And I think that may have been one of the moves that he was trying to make. Another NFL thing that worked in favor of Colorado today on this fine Friday was Pete Carroll, former Seahawks head coach, former USC head coach, former Jets coach, NFL, college football, really legend in general. He took the Las Vegas Raiders job. So even though Deion Sanders was kind of his interest in the Las Vegas Raiders job was reported, and the Raiders kind of said, the Raiders missed on Ben Johnson, so there could have been a possibility that they circled back. But realistically, they decided not to. So if Deion Sanders is, I guess, interested in any of these NFL jobs, the two jobs that I think he would be most interested in, they just closed. So no NFL for Coach Prime, or they haven't closed yet, but they're going to close. The Raiders one closed. The Cowboys one looks like it's going to close. And on top of that, Shilo Sanders, he talked about it when speaking with CBS Sports on Friday. He said, I don't know, actually, when asked about the Dallas Cowboys job. He said, I don't know, actually, quote, I actually just called him and asked him. He don't tell us nothing. He said, then I asked my brother Shedeur. He doesn't know. I called my older brother, Deion Jr. He doesn't know nothing. So I wish he was up here so we can ask him all of us together can ask what he is going to do, ask his dad. He said he would consider the NFL if he could coach both of us. Shilo said, he said he would consider Deion Sanders. That is, he would go to the NFL if he could coach both of us. I think he's going to stay at Colorado. It's not really like a big speculation. We already knew he was going to stay at Colorado. It would be a big surprise if he coached somewhere else, but I don't think that. So not only are these jobs closing, right, but his own son, who I think for the most part ranks favorably well in Coach Prime's children rankings, right? I feel like Shilo normally does well. He says, hey, I don't think he's going to leave. So if you're a Colorado fan, you got to be feeling pretty good right now, right? You have Deion Sanders' son saying, I don't think he's going to leave. You have the Raiders job closing. You have the Dallas Cowboys job seemingly going to close. So And I don't think there was ever a push made by Deion Sanders to interview for that Dallas Cowboys job, right? There was never reports of him interviewing. And from what it sounds like, it was kind of just a discussion, which in theory or in effect, if you will, means that Deion Sanders was sort of using that Dallas Cowboys opportunity to interview for, or not interview for, to sort of build up his worth, right? Even more, even though he's generating hundreds of millions, right? Colorado clearly isn't giving him everything he wants. Otherwise, he would have put pen to paper months ago, right? Otherwise, he would have put pen to paper weeks ago. So Deion Sanders is playing the field a little bit, seeing what's out there, showing, hey, Colorado, they want me. I could go over here if you don't give me what I need. So clearly, Deion Sanders is playing this game of like, hey, give me the support because people are interested in me. And my asking price is only going to go up. And it's not even the asking price for him. I'm being told it's the asking price for the things around him. He wants better facilities. He wants more NIL support. He wants more coaching pool money, right? So give Deion Sanders the support he needs, Colorado, so that way you can continue to trend in the right direction. Because if you lose Deion Sanders, you're no longer going to be one of the most popular places in college football or in sports in general. You're going to see a mass exodus like we've never seen before. Like you thought, we've seen a lot of people leave programs like, say, Marshall this year, where their coach wasn't getting a contract extension, so they all left to Southern Miss with him. If you thought that was a lot, imagine losing like 90% of your roster because they all came to play for Coach Prime, right? That would be the sort of situation that I would foresee this program being in. So the fact that Coach Prime is, or I wouldn't say Coach Prime, the fact that signs point to Coach Prime returning, I think that's a very big deal for Colorado. And for those of you who don't think that's huge news, I don't see how you don't see that, right? We could talk it out in the comment section, but you tell me, look into my eyes, look into my haircut as I'm currently in the process of growing it out on the top a little bit so I could try something new. Look into my eyes and my hair, if you will, and tell me that you don't think Deion Sanders leaving, or not leaving, excuse me, is not a big deal. Because that's the biggest deal, right? It's hard to be a juggernaut in college football. It's hard to be a program that's super popular in college football if you're not a juggernaut. Colorado is doing both of those things, and I think Deion Sanders has the ability to turn this program into a juggernaut if he stays. So, huge break for Colorado. I don't think Colorado fans should have to worry. I just think that they need the program to sort of speed things up, up their offers, if you know what I mean. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the unfortunate Travis Hunter situation, why I'm absolutely disgusted by what's been going on with how fans have been treating Travis Hunter. This episode of Locked On Buffs, it's brought to you by our sponsors over at Game Time. So, those of you who don't know what Game Time is, let me tell you. Attending NFL games is an experience like no other. The energy, the excitement, and the connection with the other fans are unmatched. I remember the thrill of seeing my favorite team clinch a playoff win live. It's a memory I'll never forget. This year, Game Time is making it even easier to create those unforgettable memories with their new feature, Game Time Picks. It filters out all the fluff and shows you only the best deals on great seats so you can focus on what matters, being there. I use Game Time Picks to grab tickets for an upcoming playoff game, and I couldn't have been easier. I found a super deal that gave me incredible values for amazing seats, and I could even preview the view from my spot before buying. The all-in pricing is a Game Time changer. No surprise fees at checkout. Plus, knowing my tickets are backed by the Game Time guarantee gave me complete peace of mind. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege. It's LOCKED ONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Let's talk about it. The Travis Hunter situation is disappointing. It's very, 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 unsettling, if you will. It's hard for him because, and I think it's disappointing because Travis Hunter is such a kind guy, right? He's always the player that's signing autographs after the game. He's always the player that will take pictures with little kids. He's always the player that is putting his team above himself, even though he's probably the best player in college football. That being said, there was a disappointing development recently, so I'm going to talk about it and just talk about why this is happening and why we need to sort of get a reality check as fans. So this is what Travis Hunter said per TMZ. All the haters are messing up my supporters, he said. I rarely take pictures now because you don't know what they're going to do with it. People are weird. People scare me because you never know who's got good intentions, and it could always get left at any moment. But it's all good, he said, because I've got Frank the Tank, a new security guard. Y'all will get to meet him soon. His name is Frankenstein. And then he also said he had to get off social media. He said, don't get on social media to go off. That's why I dumbed down what I show people now. I don't be on social media as much. That would probably be what I wish I realized earlier, so it didn't get to the point where I don't got to be on the apps. It's bettered me. I live life happy. I walk around the house happy, not having social media, watching YouTube on the phone with my friends, playing a game with my friends, just having fun. I just got a different type of joy now, not having that stress. And I think this stems from the whole girlfriend thing, right? I think this stems from all those moments where people would get a snippet of a video and try to psychoanalyze every single thing that would happen with Travis Hunter. And it's disappointing that we as a society cannot let people live a life if they're happy. It's disappointing as a society that we're basically bullying people into having to get security, bullying people into leaving social media because we think we know better. We think we know what's better for someone we've never met, right? Like that'd be like me giving LeBron James advice on how to shoot a jump shot or how to, JJ Redick, I don't think you're managing LeBron James well. Like I don't tell LeBron James how to live his life. I don't tell people I don't know how to live their life. And so I know there was a lot of controversy surrounding him and his fiance. Excuse me, I think I called her his girlfriend, but his fiance. We don't know anything that's going on between the two, right? They seem happy. Travis Hunter seemed like a kind-hearted, fun-loving individual. And now you guys realize your obsessiveness with him, your willingness to attack him and his fiance and just go after them repeatedly on social media. You've killed a piece of Travis Hunter, right? You have taken away a little bit of innocence that he had where he realized that people don't always have his best intentions. He realized that people are sort of preying on his downfall. He realized that people sort of love to see negativity. And I just think that's really disappointing. And so for Travis Hunter to really have to, don't mind the heating pad in the back. My back is very tight. Worked out for the first time in a while. It's been fun. Travis Hunter has had to really figure out how to navigate fame. And I enjoyed seeing him connect with young fans. I enjoyed seeing him take time with other people to sign stuff, to take pictures, but clearly it's become too much of a burden on the young man. And I can't fault him, right? It's hard to fault a guy who put himself out there in the public and people sort of mistreated him. It's just one of those things where if you're famous nowadays, people are going to try to pick apart your life. And I thought it was really special that we had a famous person who sort of let us into his life a little bit in a way. And now that's ruined. And so I hope Travis Hunter's okay mentally. I hope him and his fiance are doing well. And I hope that his new change in life continues to be one that he finds as a joyful one, right? I think that's all we could ask for, right? If Travis Hunter is happy as a person, then that's all we could ask for. That is our job as fans of him. That is our job as people who support him, the sport, whatever. We don't get to decide what makes a person happy. We don't get to decide what this looks like or what that looks like. We get to enjoy what they show us and we get to observe them. Let's stick to doing that and stop inserting ourselves into things we don't know about. So let's talk about Shedeur Sanders in the NFL as a prospect. Very mixed reviews. This episode of Locked On Buffs is brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day for free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow. I will see you guys every single day of the week because guess what? My everydayers, you see me every single day providing you content, providing insight, providing analysis. And that's exactly what we do here on Locked On Buffs. And that's exactly why I appreciate you guys for tuning in every day because this show's not possible without you. So let's talk about Shedeur Sanders. He's obviously the face or was the face of the Colorado program. He's a guy who I think going into last year, there were questions about him. Could he make the jump from the FCS to the Power 5, now the Power 4, RIP to the Pac-12? There were questions. It's like, is he good enough? Does he have the skill set? Is he just someone that was benefiting from being too good at the FCS level, but he's not good enough to play at the FBS level? Well, Shedeur Sanders absolutely torched every defense imaginable, even when Colorado's offense line was the worst in college football. So I always thought he'd have a potential to be at least this year specifically. I thought when he decided to come back that he had all the opportunity in the world to be QB1. Clearly, NFL personnel are still a little confused about that. They're still a little split on it. This is what NFL Network's expert Daniel Jeremiah had to say. He said that people are that Shedeur Sanders is pretty polarizing. There's pretty split opinions around the league on Sanders. He's pretty polarizing, actually. To me, when you watch him, the things are irrefutable. He's just got a pure throwing motion, pure throwing motion. He is a natural thrower. It's a real pretty the way the ball comes out of his hand. He's extremely accurate. He's incredibly tough. Got the living tar kicked out of him over the last few years at Colorado. Those things you can't refute. Then he said, now, there are people that aren't as high on Shedeur as going to say that he doesn't have an elite size, doesn't have an elite arm, he's not an elite athlete. So it's like everything he does is right here. He doesn't do those things over the line. That's where some of the disconnect comes from throughout the league. I think if you get him in the right place, you protect him, he's a point guard, he could be very, very efficient. So, and Mel Kiper also said he's one of the tougher quarterbacks he's ever seen. So what does this teach us about the Shedeur Sanders experience? Well, I don't think he's going to go number one anymore because I think Travis Hunter has kind of locked that spot up. I think right now it's Travis, Cam, Shedeur. And I think it could flip with Cam and Shedeur, but I feel like Travis is the generational talent that we've been hearing about. And I feel like Shedeur it's going to be whatever the Cleveland Browns or whoever trades up to 2 prefers, right? If there's a team that prefers Shedeur, then obviously they'll get him. But I think Shedeur Sanders, and people don't give him enough credit for, we're hearing all this, he's not athletic, right? Shedeur Sanders is pretty athletic, right? He got clocked at 20 miles per hour. I think it was 21 miles per hour against USC last year. He's pretty quick. He just doesn't run a lot, right? And I think Deion Sanders kind of instilled that in him because he's like, hey, we need you, so we don't need you taking hits. Granted, he took a ton of hits in the pocket, but I think Shedeur Sanders is more athletic than people give him credit for. I think he has the arm strength to make all the throws necessary, right? I don't know if he has the Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen caliber arm, but he's got a pretty good arm. So at the end of the day, where Shedeur Sanders goes to is all based on a team's preference, right? I think there's going to be teams who are Shedeur Sanders guys, and I think there's going to be teams who are Cam Ward guys. I'd probably go Shedeur. I think Cam has that. He's a little more mobile in the sense of he will run, but I don't love his lackadaisicalness or lackadaisicality, if you will. I don't know if either of those are words, but he's too lackadaisical is what I'm saying with the ball, right? He just seems like he's always trying to be so cool and so calm. He'll throw it flat-footed. He'll pat the ball a couple times. He'll walk to get a first down. I don't love that. I feel like it's going to come back to bite him. I feel like he doesn't turn it on all the time. And then I also feel like he forces a lot of throws where he's trying so hard to use his arm strength. And I don't feel like Shedeur has ever done that, right? I feel like Shedeur, for the most part, he's pretty decisive. And if he doesn't see what he doesn't like, or if he doesn't see something he likes, he's not going to just force it, right? He only has 27 career interceptions to 134 touchdowns. Whereas Cam Ward, on the other hand, Cam Ward's been known to take some risk. And even if, which I'll pull up his stats to do a little comparison here, even if Cam has less career interceptions, which I don't think he does, I think he's more prone to taking risks. He has 37 picks, 158 touchdowns, which a lot of those came from his time at Incarnate Word. He had 47 touchdowns his sophomore year, which was the year he entered the portal, ended up at Washington State. All this to say is I think Shedeur Sanders protects the football better. I think Shedeur Sanders has leadership qualities. I think he's tough. And obviously, this isn't what I think NFL teams are basing how they're drafting someone on entirely, but I think Shedeur Sanders has more of that it factor. I think he has that popularity. I think people are going to love him as a face of a franchise, where I don't know if Cam Ward does that for me, right? I feel like Cam Ward is a really good quarterback. I think he's had some really bright moments in college, but is he someone where it's like, hey, turn on channel 5, Cam Ward is playing? I don't think so. I think people will turn on the TV to watch Shedeur, and as an NFL team, you're getting a quarterback who could be one of the best possibly in the NFL eventually, who also is super entertaining and people want to watch him. I think you lean towards Shedeur in that sense, whereas some people might go Cam Ward, but I think Shedeur's got the toughness, the accuracy, the decision-making, and I think he's got the appeal. So ultimately, like I keep saying, it depends on what teams want. I'd want Shedeur Sanders for my team. I don't know about you guys. Let me know what you think. Shedeur or Cam Ward for QB1. And we could discuss in the comment section. I appreciate you guys for tuning in to Locked On Buffs, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, share this with a friend, share this with your dog, your mom. I don't care. Share it with someone because we're growing, we're having fun, and this has been Locked On Buffs.